Hello, this is Timmy Black, and welcome once again to another episode of The Lives of Contemporary Artists. You know, there's been a lot of talk, a lot of crazy talk, if you ask me, about this frictionless society that we're supposed to have, this frictionless future. I've talked about this before. I mean, this so-called frictionless future is actually our frictionless present. It's already here. You don't have to use a map anymore. There's no knobs. There's no knobs anymore. You don't have to. Everything is voice activated and face recognition and I don't know. Even when you go to a restaurant, there's no waiters or waitresses. You get a QR code. We've already reached that frictionless future. And what about the kids? Kids don't have any friction anymore. I mean, they don't have to worry about studying, reading texts and analyzing text. They just look stuff up on the chat GPT and it summarizes it and puts things in bullet points and helps them write and helps them read. And you don't even need friends anymore. No, we have virtual friends. Technology has taken care of even having romantic partners. So it's not hysterical anymore to suggest that books and movies and paintings and music can all be adequately produced by artificial intelligence, by AI. AI. That's all anyone talks about now. AI. And to be honest, I prefer how the French pronounce it. They don't call it AI, they call it IA. I think it sounds much better. It's much more appropriate. In English, it sounds vaguely pleasant. AI, sir. Sounds like you're on a yacht or something, or an aircraft carrier. Whereas the French, they pronounce it IA. Which might sound a little bit more like a panic attack rather than something more consensual, like AI, sir. Anyway, it's all that noise, all that anxiety, all those prophecies of doom and nihilism that got me thinking about all those marginal, insignificant, irrelevant contemporary artists out there working in resentful obscurity, laboring away with charcoal sticks and toxic solvents, with oil paints and lithographic stones and chisels and arc welders and potters wheels and looms and dark rooms and all that messy artisanal stuff. I've been thinking about these folks and who still carry around pencils and pocket-sized moleskin sketchbooks with tinted paper and cute little ribbons. I've been thinking about them. I've been thinking about life drawing. That asymmetrical exchange between the naked model and the fully clothed artist. I'm thinking about that semi-sacred rite that combines tradition with a little bit of transgression, that combines science with sensuality. I remember my own very awkward self, my bashful self, as an art student, confronting for the first time that the raw, vulnerable, objectified body and being forced to study it, to scrutinize it, to dissect it, to idealize it. It all seems so quaint now in this world of image enhancing apps like Facetune, Snapseed. Have you heard of Snapseed and Titan Look? There's Titan Look and UCam. And by the way, you ever hear of this? You ever hear of this thing called Pincel? Is that how you pronounce it? Pincel? I got rid, listen to this, I got rid of all, and I mean all of my body hair with Pincel, with this thing. It's amazing. I mean, I went through, I don't know, 10 years of selfies, of years and years and years of vacation pictures of me on beaches and pools and lounging around. And I'll tell you, I nipped and I tucked with this thing and I plucked and look amazing. Anyway, look for my Instagram account. You'll see. Anyway, there's a guy out there. That's why I'm here. I'm talking to you. There's a guy out there, an artist that you probably never heard of, who seems to be the last of the romantics. And I'm using the word romantic both with a capital R and a small r. I'll tell you why. I mean, this guy could not care less about the aesthetic commodification of the male gaze. He could care less. And he only draws women. And he doesn't seem to have any problem with the implicit submission of the female model to his artistic agenda and the degree to which it might reinforce patriarchal norms. He doesn't care about that. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about this, but I gotta say the work of Brooklyn artist Spark Boon is undeniably powerful. Now, Spark Boon, which is, hand to God, is his Christian name. He actually showed me a copy of his birth certificate just to prove it. Spark does nothing but draw the model. Draw the model. That's all he does. There's no grand idea, no postmodern irony, no decadent display of preternatural draftsmanship. No, his hand is very, very inconsistent. I mean, he doesn't hide the fact that he learned to draw, not academically, but in this autodidactical process. He learned it all himself. His work is horribly or wonderfully uneven. And when I visited his studio recently, he had hundreds of sketchbooks lying around all over the place, and he had these flat files that were crammed with sheets of paper, and there were drawings all over the place. It was like a dog's breakfast of stylistic noodling, I guess there was drawings on tables, on chairs, on drawing horses. They were all over the place. So the only evidence of a deliberate, logical order was the immaculate model stand, surrounded by a network of theatrical lights, backed up in front of a very light gray wall. It looked beautiful. It really did. It looked, I don't know, it looked like an altar dedicated to human sacrifice, something like that. Now, here comes the weird part. For the past, I don't know, 10, 15 years or so, Spark is deliberately vague about timelines, but for the past long while, Spark has been only using one model. A woman. Of course, a woman. Always a woman. A woman he casually refuses to identify, but with whom he apparently has a profound and evolving relationship. Now, if you follow the work chronologically, you'll see that there is something eerily obsessive about the relationship, as if the bulk of his emotional investment is in the actual flesh, is not in the actual flesh and blood of this person. That's not where his relationship is. The relationship seems to be, and the development of this relationship seems to be in the depicted person. If that makes sense. Well, it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me because I was a psychology major in college, and I've read enough Freud to know repression when I see it. It's pretty clear to me that Spark loves this woman. And that's why his gaze is so unabashedly male. Now, in textbook Freudian fashion, Boon, by sublimating his impulses, has developed this perverse imperative to broadcast his unsatisfied libido on paper. Now, if that sounds a bit academic, let me simplify a bit. The reason why Spark Boon is indifferent to the nuances of gender studies and could care less about the vicissitudes of contemporary art discourse is because for him, the whole thing is about escapism and fantasy. So if you've been paying any attention at all to what they're calling these days the manosphere, it seems like Spark Boon, whether he knows it or not, has become the art world's singular and very male reflection of an insatiable heterosexual desire. Not too trendy. Not too trendy at all. Now, that's it for today. And I'm sure I'll be getting a lot of emails about this one. And I'm sure it's going to force me to compose a very, very defensive and maybe even contrite new episode of the lives of contemporary artists.